because he knew himself. He knew what he has done was okay. He knew, according to the early chapters of chapter 1, he says, and God saw everything that he had done, he had made, and indeed it was very good. He didn't say it was bad. He didn't say it was lacking anything. He says it was good. If you read chapter 1, verse 31 of Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Okay, God knew that it was good. God knew that for the man, what he has created, the man, the woman, it was good. He was not looking at them and saying that his work was not perfect. His work was perfect. A perfect work was done. Now, even if the work is not perfect, we already know that God is omniscient. He's omnipotent. He has got unlimited power. So there is no way that he will go wrong in the beginning of his work. So this part of the Bible that says that God is at the beginning. Now, from what the explanation is or what I have explained, if anybody will go back and think it through, you can see clearly that the book has got complications which bring doubts in the minds of a reader, or any reader that approaches with an open-mindedness. Approaching this book with an open-mindedness, you can clearly see that this cannot straightforward be attributed to an omniscient God or an omnipotent God, or be attributed to one and only true God. It is something which needs to be he needs to be given a serious thought, needs to be considered carefully before any other thing. And this is what I think I expect somehow people to really think through as we go through. Now, from just here, we are not discovering the omnipotent and the omnipotent and the omniscient God in this chapter of 1 and 2, and which is very worrying. Okay, so we go on. Now the cunning, it continues on chapter 3. Now the snake shall not eat. The snake then tells the woman, he said to the woman, has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Now, the woman is expressing or repeating what was told or what was said to them. Now, among the snake and the woman is quite understandable, but whatever they were saying, whatever they were doing, or whatever was about to happen, God was already knew. God must have already known from the very beginning of his creation that this was going to happen, and he would have avoided such a thing happening if we are to know him as the all-knowing God, that he does approach everything and considers all the possibilities of mistakes that might happen in the future. And so if such a mistake has caused us all to sort of die today, which from the very beginning, as I read from the beginning, God didn't state, it's never stated that man was created to die or to get sick in any way. So whatever brought the sickness and dying into our lives must have happened in chapter 3, as it goes on to reveal that man's disobedience made man to fall away from God's grace. And as we fall away from God's grace, ever since that time, then all the calamities came upon our lives. And if this is the situation, if this is really the truth, if this is how it is, let's just put aside the omniscient and omnipotent, the deviation of that, and look at it carefully that if this is what happened, truly, truly, then surely in every way, we have in every sense, if this is what happened to us in our lives, and we have become sick and we die every day, then really, how are we supposed to sort of, how are we supposed to think? How are we supposed to think about the whole story and God issue? Because we have seen that in this respect that chapter 3 has revealed to us that it is because of these things that we have fallen short of the glory of God. That whatever activity that took place at that time has made us become short of the glory of God. And so we die, we get sick and all that. Now, if this is the true story, then this is where the answer is. God must have known that this thing was coming upon us. And whatever came upon us, the bad things that came upon our lives, was something that has come upon God's work. We are God's work. We are God's work. We are God's work. God created us. And God did not create us in the sense that bad things will come upon his work. He definitely created us so that to sort of show that he's a perfect God, and he does not create by going back or regretting what he has done, because he knows the future and he knows the past. So in that regard, all things are meant to be he has to be given that respect that he's capable of creating something right and doing it right and not wrong. And that is why I think that wherever we go through today, whatever happens to us or whatever is happening to us, I'm thinking along the line that God definitely, in these pages, God definitely knew, and it is not necessarily, it's possible that it is not God who sort of made all these things, or life did not start in the way it has been presented here, and somehow there is something lacking in the presentation of the God of the Bible, and it cannot necessarily explain thoroughly that the God of the Bible is omniscient or omnipotent. If I go through what I have read, there isn't anything that proves his omniscience or his omnipotency. It is much more to do with some idea is being presented, and one or two has been picked together in order to sort of reveal it or presented as being the God. And unfortunately, in my case, I have sort of come to realize that it is not necessarily God, but it is a God. It is some God, because there are all sort of gods, there are all sort of faith, there are all sort of belief, there are all sort of ideas, there are all sort of stories that we are meant to relate and sort of embrace as being the true God of our lives. Regarding where you probably may be coming from, or what tradition or what culture you may belong to, we all have some story to relate to, and this is the story of the Jewish side. But if you look at this story, there are lapses, there are some loopholes which needs to be considered, and I believe that it is very much something that needs to be looked carefully. And I don't think anyone reading this now can see that God is in the beginning, and I'm sure as we go through to the middle, we will see that God is not either in the middle as well, and all that needs to be looked into carefully, and well considered. So I'm not twisting the words, just as I see it. It's how I have, I have tried to explain, or I've tried to put through. So the fall of a man, definitely there was a fall. Yeah, fine, it's accepted as the story says. But this fall should not have happened.